There is a European country that disappeared from the map for more than 100 years. No flag, no name, no sovereignty. Torn apart between empires, dragged through wars it never chose and forced to live as if it had never existed. Yet there was one thing history could never erase: its own memory. Poland may have been crossed out on paper, but it was never erased from the minds of its people. During the years of division, culture did not disappear. It was hidden in whispered language passed down to children, in lullabies sung at night, in small wooden churches scattered across the countryside, in poetry, music, and family meals prepared like quiet rituals. Wars came, cities collapsed, borders shifted, but the people remembered who they were. And it was that memory that kept Poland standing when everything else fell apart. That is why Poland today is not a loud country. It does not try to impress at first glance. It does not show off or perform. The old streets, the weathered walls, the silences woven into everyday life, all carry the marks of a nation that learned how to survive quietly. Poland is not a place that overwhelms you immediately, but if you stay long enough, it becomes a place that lingers in your thoughts long after you leave. 1. Geography and mindset. Living in the heart of Europe without following the crowd. Poland sits quietly at the very center of Europe, a subtle crossroads between East and West. For centuries, ancient trade routes passed through this land, empires marched across it, and civilizations collided here. Yet instead of being swept away by every wave that crossed its path, Poland learned how to stand its ground. It lives in the middle of Europe, but it does not dissolve into it. The land opens with vast open plains where the sky feels endless and life moves at the rhythm of the seasons. In the south, the Tatra Mountains rise like a natural boundary, harsh, cold, and resilient, teaching people patience in the face of nature. To the north, the Baltic Sea is not loud or glamorous like the Mediterranean. It is gray, cold, and contemplative, mirroring the spirit of the country itself. Different landscapes, yet all quietly teaching the same lesson: there is no need to rush in order to exist. Perhaps that is why the Polish mindset feels different. People here do not smile at strangers on the street. They do not engage in small talk just to fill the silence. They do not speak unless there is something worth saying. But when you begin real conversation, when words carry purpose, you will discover genuine sincerity. No performance, no forced warmth, just people meeting people honestly. For many foreigners, especially older expats or those tired of the noise and constant social pressure of the modern world, this becomes deeply comforting. In Poland, you are not required to perform friendliness. You are not expected to blend into the crowd. You are allowed to live quietly, speak less, and be respected for the calm you carry. 2. Polish women. Beauty that is not taught to be displayed. When people speak of Polish women, they often think of the distinct beauty of Central and Eastern Europe. Tall, slender figures, balanced features, and deep, thoughtful eyes. It is a kind of beauty that does not try to attract attention. It is not loud. It does not rely on heavy makeup or constant validation. It simply exists. You notice it on the street, in a small cafe, or on a quiet morning train, understated, reserved, yet difficult to forget. Unlike the explosive, vibrant beauty often associated with South America, Polish women are more like an oil painting. They do not overwhelm you at first glance, but the longer you look, the longer they stay with you. There is depth in the face composure, in the way they move, and a certain distance, not to push others away, but to protect their own sense of worth. In Poland, beauty is not something to be performed. It is simply part of who a woman is. But if you stop at appearance, you miss the most important part. Poland is among the European countries with a high percentage of women holding university degrees. In lecture halls, research institutions, medicine, education, and the arts, Women are present not as exceptions, but as a natural force. Polish history also carries names that go far beyond physical beauty. Marie Skłodowska-Curie, born in Warsaw, stands as a global symbol of intellect, the first woman in the world to win 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields. Even modern symbols follow the same message. A Miss World from Poland is recognized not only for her height or facial features, but for her education, social awareness, and community work. Here, beauty does not stand apart from intelligence, and intelligence is never overshadowed by appearance. The message is clear. In Poland, beauty is not a tool for advancement. It is not a shortcut to opportunity. Polish women are raised with the understanding that their true value lies in depth in thought education and the way they move through the world without needing permission to be themselves. 3. A quiet paradox. When women are strong, yet the burden remains. Poland is a country where women are highly educated. In universities, they often outnumber men. Polish women study more, graduate more, and play a central role in fields such as education, healthcare, science, media, and the arts. On paper, this reflects a progressive society, one where knowledge is not limited by gender. But when you look closer, a quiet paradox emerges. In political life, women hold only about 1/3 of parliamentary seats. In the highest decision-making positions, their voices remain limited, not because of a lack of ability, not because of insufficient education, but because older social structures still exist beneath the surface like layers of sediment that have not yet fully eroded. Beyond public life, the imbalance becomes even clearer at home. Statistics show that Polish women spend nearly twice as much time on unpaid domestic work as men. Caring for the household, raising children, keeping daily life running smoothly. These are tasks that never appear on a paycheck, yet without them society itself would falter. Many women carry 2 roles at once, as highly educated professionals and as the invisible backbone of family life. What stands out is how rarely this is expressed through open resentment. Many Polish women do not see themselves as victims. They continue forward, carrying responsibilities, holding things together. Their strength is not loud, but it is constant, a quiet strength and never a weak one. And here the most important question arises: is this tradition, or is it something Poland is slowly being forced to confront and change? A society can celebrate women's intelligence, yet still place heavier expectations on their shoulders. The answer is not yet clear. But the fact that this question is now being asked more often and more openly may itself be a sign that movement has already begun. 4. Urban life silence is not coldness. A morning in Warsaw begins gently. No blaring car horns. No voices competing to be heard. On the streets leading into the city center, life moves at a calm, steady rhythm. When you step into the metro, you notice something immediately: the silence. Hundreds of people stand side by side, reading, gazing through fogged windows, listening to music through headphones, yet almost no one speaks. Not because they are distant, but because silence here is respected. In Poland, there is no pressure to fill every empty space with words. No need for small talk. No forced smiles to prove friendliness. Connection does not come from talking more, but from not intruding on each other's space. You are allowed to keep your thoughts to yourself, allowed to begin the day quietly, and allowed to do so without explanation. This is especially comforting for those who have lived long, busy lives. For people who are tired of performing, blending in, and constantly showing that they are doing fine. In many parts of the United States, urban life often demands visibility, conversation, openness, constant expression. Silence can be misread as distance or coldness. But in Poland, silence carries no judgment. You are not required to perform. You do not need to share your story with strangers. You simply exist. And within that quiet presence, many people rediscover something they lost long ago, the feeling of slowing down, free from the noise of the world. 5. Architecture. When homes are built to be lived in, not to be shown off. To understand Poland, you have to look at how it treats old walls. In Warsaw's Old Town, nearly the entire district was flattened during World War II. Houses were gone, squares erased, physical memory wiped away. Yet instead of building something new to forget the past, the Polish chose a harder path. They rebuilt memory itself. Street by street, roof by roof, window by window, the old town was reconstructed using 18th century paintings as references, not to romanticize the past, but to remember what had been lost. Leaving the city, you arrive in the village of Zalipy, where women still paint flowers on the walls of their homes, on stoves and fences, as a living tradition passed down through generations. There are no flashy signs, no grand museums, just ordinary houses cared for with color and memory. Here, architecture does not need to stand out. It only needs to be loved. In the south, the wooden houses of Zakopane appear warm and grounded. Hand-carved timber, steep roofs, built to hold heavy snow, small windows designed to keep the heat inside. Every detail serves real-life long winters, quiet evenings, the feeling of coming home. This is not architecture made for photographs. It is architecture made to be lived in. Deeper still, wooden churches recognized by UNESCO stand silently among forests and open fields. No marble, no gold. Only dark timber, the scent of old pine, flickering candles, and stillness. They survive not because they are locked behind glass, but because people still enter, still clean, still pray, still live alongside them. Even the concrete apartment blocks from the communist era, once considered ugly and soulless, are not erased. They are repainted, surrounded by trees, decorated with art on balconies, cared for as part of everyday life rather than hidden as a mistake of the past. And here Poland's philosophy becomes clear. Poland does not destroy the old to prove it is new. It lives with memory. Because for the Polish, a home is not just a place to stay, it is where memory continues to breathe alongside life. 6. Economy and daily life. Not about getting rich fast, but not designed to wear you down. Poland is not a place people come to get rich overnight. There are no stories of instant success, no glossy promises of quick wealth. Instead, the country's economy has been built quietly and steadily, resting on multiple pillars. Manufacturing, industry, technology, agriculture, and services, no single sector dominates, and that diversity creates long-term stability. Income levels in Poland are generally moderate compared to Western Europe. People do not boast about high salaries, and personal worth is not measured by income alone. In return, the cost of living does not constantly push you into survival mode. Rent, food, transportation, and healthcare remain significantly lower than in countries like Germany, France, or the United Kingdom. Life does not feel like a series of stressful calculations at the end of every month. For many people, especially older expats and retirees, this brings a very real sense of relief. Another aspect often overlooked when talking about life in Europe is labor protection. Poland was among the early adopters of the 8-hour workday, and that spirit still exists today. Working hours are clearly defined. Paid leave is a right, not a privilege. Labor unions continue to play a role in protecting workers. This creates a rhythm of life where work does not completely consume everything else. For foreigners who are no longer chasing status or unlimited growth, Poland offers a different proposition. A place where you can live adequately, not extravagantly, but without constant pressure. A place where income and expenses do not trap you in ongoing anxiety. Poland does not promise to make you rich, but it offers a life where you are not constantly running from bills and for many that is a different kind of wealth. 7. Society and change tradition does not stand still. Poland is a country deeply shaped by Catholicism. For centuries, the Church was not only a place of worship, but a spiritual anchor during periods when the nation was divided and occupied. Religious tradition, therefore, became more than personal belief. It intertwined with identity, collective memory, and the very sense of national survival. But Poland today is not a society frozen in time. Among younger generations, especially in larger cities, change is unfolding quietly yet visibly. Young people question more. They engage with the wider world through education, the internet, and years spent studying or working abroad. They do not necessarily reject tradition, but they begin to reinterpret it on their own terms. Old rituals still remain. Christmas, Easter, and All Saints' Day continue to hold deep meaning within families. At the same time, conversations around individual rights, gender roles, and personal freedom are becoming more common in public life. Change does not arrive through sudden shocks. It moves through small dialogues, through the daily friction between what has been and what is emerging. What matters is that Poland does not attempt to erase its past in order to enter the future. Transformation here is not loud or performative. It grows from within in the way young people think, in the way families speak to one another, and in how society slowly widens the boundaries of acceptance. Poland changes slowly, but it changes from the inside, and that is what makes it lasting. 8. Is Poland the place for you? Poland is not a place for everyone. It is not for those who need to perform in order to feel alive, not for people who crave a fast-paced rhythm, where everything must happen quicker, louder, and bigger with each passing day. There are few stages here for self-display, and even fewer rewards for rushing. But Poland is for those who are tired of keeping up with the speed of the modern world, tired of constantly proving their worth through numbers, titles, and achievements. It is for those who want to slow down, not because they lack ambition, but because they have learned what truly matters. In Poland, memory still has a place. People are seen beyond their roles, and life is not only about gaining more, but about holding on to what has meaning. If you value quiet over spectacle, depth over speed, and genuine human connection over rushed interactions, Poland may feel surprisingly gentle. Not perfect, not glamorous, but real enough to make you pause and listen to yourself. Poland does not ask how much you earn. It only asks, do you want to live faster or live deeper? If this video gave you a moment to reflect, press like to support the journey. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Could a slower, deeper life be right for you? And don't forget to subscribe to continue exploring places that don't try to impress, but stay with you long after the screen fades.